things that you left out that I think are worth noting. Over 300 volunteer hours at Mercy Hospital and Northwest Medical Center.
Yes, sir.
Center Court Tennis, nonprofit organization that teaches tennis to individuals with disabilities, and a math tutor at Helen Tice Middle School.
Yes, those are just some of my community service that I do. I am really passionate about a career in healthcare, and so I kind of fulfill that passion by volunteering at hospitals throughout the summer. And so I have volunteered at Northwest Medical Center and Mercy Hospital for the past 3 to 2 years, and that has just been one of the most fulfilling things that I do. It is, I'm able to interact with patients on a, first-hand level, and also shadow doctors, and kind of being able to, emulate the kind of passion that they have is really inspiring. And it really inspires me to go on to the next pathway in my academic field, and just to really be the best, not only healthcare provider that I can be, but just, the best learner that I can be.
Neuroscience.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the brain has always been incredibly fascinating to me. I'm someone who's always loved learning, and so, choosing healthcare, I guess I'm going to be in school for a while, but yeah, the brain is just so fascinating. There's so many things that we don't know about the brain, and there's so much research that needs to be done. I think that in and of itself is super empowering, that, something that we interact with every single day, there's still more to learn about. And so I really want to contribute to neuroscience in the field of research in any way that I can.
I have no doubts that you will do that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
When you're done, I'd like for you to be my doctor. When you're done, I'm sure I'll meet you.
She's just going to use you as a research subject.
Can you introduce your parents?
Yes, this is my mom, Jennifer, and my dad, Ken. I really wouldn't be where I am today. Yeah, I really wouldn't be where I am today without my parents. I think, above everything that I do, my greatest goal in life is just to emulate the hard work and the symbol of grit and tenacity that they've instilled in me. They really are the most hardworking people that I know. And, everything that, I sacrifice for my education, it's just, at the end of the day, I just want to give back to them and everything that they've given to me.
You taken AP public speaking?
I have not.
Pretty good.
Thank you.
You have done an amazing job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you for being here.
I have one. Do you know where you want to go?
I'm still thinking about it. I think Arkansas is the University of Arkansas is definitely still high on my list. I want to stay close to home, and once again, just give back to a community that has poured so much love and support into me. But yeah, I still have a little bit of time, so I'm still thinking, trying to finalize that list. Yes.
Great job.
Thank you.
for coming.
Well, thank you so much once again for the opportunity. It truly is an honor.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Impressive.
It's a hard act to follow, right there. Yeah. Not any. I think they had AP when I was in high school. At least that's what we're going to say. Okay. Dr. Cleveland, have any changes to our agenda for the evening?
No, sir.
Entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Mrs. Creek and a second by Mr. Ramos to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to our consent agenda, which includes the minutes from our August 13th meeting. I'll entertain a motion on that.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
So a motion by Mrs. Cook and a second by Mr. Hutchinson to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, turn it over to you, Dr. Cleveland.
Okay, thank you. Well, first, I'd like to recognize Ms. Shannon Tischer and Mr. Mike Potnopoulos. Ms. Tischer's here, and you see Mr. Falk back there. We're going to talk about our advanced placement teachers who really...
Thank you.
Well, had I known that Athena
would do such a phenomenal job. I would have just had us not do this and let her present about the advanced placement programming data. I'm actually going to turn it over to Mr. Fontanopoulos, but this evening we have some really exciting data to share with you, and we have some awesome recognitions of some phenomenal advanced placement teachers in our district. So just really quick, if you're an AP teacher who's here tonight to be recognized, can you please stand? You can be seated and we'll have you come up soon. So tonight what we're going to do is an advanced placement 5-year summary, data at a glance. And then we will be recognizing advanced placement teachers who have test averages at or above the global mean. And I'll let Mr. Fontanopoulos explain all of that to you. But I do want to give kudos to Mr. Fontanopoulos, who is our academic coach. He works tirelessly with teachers and students across the district to ensure that students are prepared not only for advanced placement coursework, but also prepared for the ACT, PSAT, National Merit Qualifying Test. He runs boot camps on Saturdays. He does all kinds of things outside of school. He drives buses to the University of Arkansas to take our middle school Springdale TIP students, which are our students who are starting to take the ACT as early as middle school, drives them to have university experiences, works closely with teachers and administrators, and we just really appreciate his work. And then I also want to just personally thank all the advanced placement teachers who are here tonight and all the ones who aren't, who are in our district. They work tirelessly to not only serve our students, but prepare them for high-level rigor and life after high school. And they do outside of school tutoring. They also do Saturday sessions. They go above and beyond all the time. And as you heard Athena say, they make great relationships with our students. They make them want to push themselves for more. And so I just really want to recognize and applaud their efforts. And so at this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Fontanopoulos.
Hello, board. Hello, Dr. Cleveland. And so let's do some AP at a glance 5-year summary. I'm just going to throw this up here, and if you've got a question, you can read and I can read, and then I've got some notes that I wanted to talk about. So this is from 2020 to 2024, so you can basically check out how we've responded to COVID and how we've gotten out of COVID. Each one of these I'm going to zip through right there. You can see we're going to do HAR-BER and Springdale High School, and start off with Don Tyson School of Innovation. So the School of Innovation has really had a lot of growth over the last 5 years. You can see how the total AP students went from 120 to 286. Number of exams given. The percent of total students with the 3 or higher is rising there. And it's getting more and more every year. Here you can see the Don Tyson School of Innovation, again, the percentage of total students with the 3 or higher. And these are notes that come right out of the College Board and their data. And you can see how it's creeping up almost 50%. HAR-BER High School went from 597, 600 to a little over 800 just this last year in 2024. Number of exams given, again, no scores. It's almost 70% number of students that are getting a 3 or higher this last year. It's just, showing off what those folks were doing at HAR-BER. From the teachers, Margaret Robbins is doing a great job out there leading those teachers. Of course, anyway, I could talk all day about some of that. HAR-BER High School, percentage of students with a score of 3 or higher. There they are. They went ahead and gave them the 70% there in that one. Springdale High School is, again, the total number of AP students is rising from 2020. And let me just talk about that for just a split second more as I go to the number of students that are at a 5 or a 3 or higher. It's going down a little bit there at Springdale High School, but across our district, what happened there? Yeah, there you go. Across our district, some notes that I have. In 2024, we had 1,700 students in our district take 2,700 exams. I'm using approximate numbers. We had a 54% pass rate. With that, compare that to the year before. Let's just go ahead and compare that to 2020. In 2020, you had 1,200 students take 1,700 exams at a, that's right, 1,200 students take 1,700 exams. In 2024, you had 1,700 students take 2,700 exams. So we've seen massive growth in the AP world. Just from last year alone, we've had 300 more students take 500 more exams with a pass rate of 54%, which is up higher than 53% in 2023. In short, more kids taking more exams and they're passing at a higher rate. I think that's pretty cool. And it's all because of the teachers. It's all because of a lot of things. But here's a big reason right here. These are the teachers that I wanted to recognize tonight because they are at the global mean, which is to say the global average. Of course, the scores go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And each one of these teachers here were at the global mean of 3 point something or higher. Their pass rate was at the global pass rate or higher. And so that's why I thought maybe we should probably bring them in and recognize them. And you can see who they are. And you can see that it covers the gambit from art to biology to European history to psychology. And it goes from the high school down to the junior highs. And so at this time, I would like for all those AP teachers that we asked to come tonight to come on down here and get around here. And while they're making their way down here, I know that this doesn't happen in a vacuum. You know that. This happens because yeah, y'all come on down here. This happens because of great leadership that gives them great tools. This happens because, again, that leadership on the district level, at the school level, these parents that give, and of course, who couldn't teach Athana? I mean, my aching brains. You got a room full of that walking in there anyway. There's the motivation by these folks that want to go do the summer institutes. There's the motivation by many of these people who are readers for their particular discipline. They go and actually read the exams. And so that just puts them on the cutting edge. I think of people like John Stewart, who just retired, but there he was, working himself into an early table leader role for the college board. He's a master. He's a master at his craft. And there he is every day. And so many, I could speak about many of these folks who I know personally. But it's in that spirit that I have to give these folks their credit. And so I want you guys to speak out. Give me your name, give me your school, and give me your class that you guys teach. Ready? And we'll start here.
Make them come to the microphone. So
You want to do that?
people that are streaming.
Okay.
Center, Jody.
Let's do that. Go ahead.
I'm Jody Doherty. I'm at Central Junior High School, and I teach AP Computer Science Principles.
John Van Zant. I'm at DTSY, and I teach AP Music Theory.
Melissa Myers, and I'm at DTSOI, and I taught AP Spanish Language and Culture.
I'm Robert Day, and I'm at HAR-BER, and I teach AP World.
I'm Erica Roberts. I'm at HAR-BER. I teach psychology.
I'm Aaron Hintertour. I teach at HAR-BER High School, and last year I taught AP US Gov and AP US History, and this year I'm just teaching AP US History.
Hi, Nora Scadabo from Springdale High School, and I teach AP Spanish Literature and Culture. And this summer I went to do my training in Spain, in Seville, Spain.
Hey, I'm John Holmes, and I am at DTOSI, and I teach AP World History.
I'm Audrey Dannenhauer, and I'm at DTSOI. I teach AP Art and Design, Drawing, and 3D.
My name's Amy Taylor. I'm at DTSOI and I teach AP Stats.
I'm Lisa Spears. I'm at Southwest Junior High and I teach human geography.
Good evening. My name is Ed Vieira. I teach European history at HAR-BER High School. Thank you.
I'd like to maybe give one more round of applause to all of these fine educators. Before we leave, do you guys have any questions for them or anything on your mind?
Awesome.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you for your leadership. And we'll go outside and get a group picture. How about that? Come on. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
See ya. Thank you.
While they're making their way out, I'd like to invite Aaron Johnson.
Getting your workout today.
Good evening. I am Karen Johnson. I'm one of the assistant principals at Southwest Junior High, and I am really excited to be here to share with you a little bit about the Springdale Aspiring Administrator Academy. It's an academy that myself, Ms. Hensey, Dr. Smith, and a whole committee of assistant principals have been working to develop. And so I want to start by just sharing our mission for the committee with you, or for the academy. It is to develop aspiring administrators by providing transparent and relevant learning experiences, equipping them with applicable tools, fostering connections, and empowering them to be problem solvers. So Ms. Hensey is going to talk to you a little bit about how we plan to fulfill that mission, but I wanted to start by sharing some really fun statistics with you that I think show how excited we are, but also how excited educators all across Springdale are about the academy. So we had 11 assistant principals who wanted to join us in developing the academy. We had 93 different applicants, and those applicants spanned across 29 different schools. In addition to that, we had applicants from different buildings, like the ESL department. And we are thrilled that we are having our first cohort, which starts in a few weeks, actually Thursday, not a few weeks, a few days from now. And we have 30 applicants that we selected for that cohort. So we are more than thrilled. You are all have an open invitation to come to one or more of the sessions. We would love to see you there. And I am now going to let Stephanie tell you a little bit more about the academy. But I thank you for your time and allowing me to talk.
Good evening. How are you? I had to thank Mr. Day because he was pivotal in Sammy's AP class last year. He did a great job. So as she said, she mentioned our mission. I could get that clicker. Can we go there? Oh, it's right here. Thank you. Okay, so as she mentioned, I'm going to work from the bottom up this time. Instead of the top down. We're going to do everything different today. So she mentioned our mission. It's up there, developing aspiring administrators by providing transparent, relevant learning experiences, equipping them with applicable tools, fostering connections, and empowering them to be problem solvers. Our vision is also there, aspiring Springdale administrators. That's our logo up there too. We'll have the capacity to lead with confidence and competence. And so it's a tall order. We developed our mission and vision ourselves, and every decision that we make, we try to live out that mission and vision, and we're super excited about it. And so we do have our own logo. The A3 is Aspiring Administrators Academy. We all voted on it. It's been amazing. We even have our own decals, so we're like super legitimate. So we're gonna give everybody a decal and a sticker. We're excited about that too.
You're not official unless you have your own sticker.
Right? We have our own decal for our computers and a sticker. You want on the Stanley cups, right? We're official now. We can be there. And so working from the bottom up experiences, our applicants will be able to shadow an administrator. We've offered them after school events to come and learn from, mock interviews with feedback. We've got a book study that we're doing. Everybody's all of our mentors have taken personally delivered to our 30 mentees, a book study that we're going to be completing. We've got a celebration at the end. We also are going to meet in a different place every month. So we get to learn from innovative administrators and be in those innovative spaces as well. We've got a mixture of East Side, West Side, elementary, middle, and secondary. We chose those very carefully in our meetings. And then the top one, our topics, we're going to focus on school culture, teaching and learning, school management. We're going to talk about crucial conversations, change leadership. And so I'm like super pumped about this. I get to present at one of the first sessions on Thursday, so we are ready to go and meet with everybody with a smile and learn lots of learning for everyone around. So I just want to take time to thank the board and Dr. Cleveland and our district admin team and our A3 leadership team for this opportunity. Through collaboration, and I've learned a ton, and it's going to be really exciting. So, do you have any questions? Did we say it all?
Can we get the dates
Yes.
times and stuff?
Absolutely, we'll get those to you. Yeah, it's from 4:30 to 6:30, and we meet. I think it's like we decided the third Thursday, first. I will get you the dates and locations. Yes, John Tyson on Thursday. 4:30, first one. Any other questions? Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Cleveland, Ms. Smalling. I have the great opportunity to introduce you to a wonderful steward in our community named Monica Kumar. She and I have worked together over many, many years, and she is one of the people who is leading what's called Welcome Week, and we worked together to have the kickoff event here at Springdale High School's new gymnasium and academic wing, and that is this Friday, and you are all welcome. I hope you will be able to attend and be there. And so wanted to bring Monica here to give you a little bit of information. So please welcome Monica Kumar.
Thank you so much, Tran. I'm just honored to be here this evening. Thank you so much for inviting me. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. Oh, perfect. I forgot about that. So Welcoming Week, I work for the Northwest Arkansas Council. I'm a belonging and inclusion strategist. I work with Engage, and we have been uplifting Welcoming Week in this community in a really big way for the past 4 years. And I'm thrilled to say that this is our 4th year, and Welcoming Week is actually a national initiative, and it's supposed to be the 2 weeks in September, like the last 2 weeks, but we have outgrown it here in Northwest Arkansas because, surprise, surprise, we're the most welcoming community in the region and in the country, and so we're actually celebrating all of September. The theme this year is We're All In. This is a very community-driven, collaborative event. It's regional. We activate businesses, organizations. Lots of people in this room have been participatory in it, and businesses have participated in it, and we're so excited to offer different events and experiences to the community. They are almost all either completely free or very low barrier. They're all inclusive, and they all look to drive inclusive community in our region. And the most exciting thing, and the thing that I am incredibly grateful for, is Springdale High School's incredible support of Welcoming Week this year. So up till now, we have had a modest celebration to launch Welcoming Week at the Jones Center, and it's been amazing. But we really wanted an engagement from young people to participate, and it's really hard to get young people to come out of school in the middle of the day. And the incredible Jason Jones and Trent Jones said to us, why don't you just come to school and come where the young people are? So we are going to be having this incredible launch celebration at Springdale High on Friday, the lucky September 13th, from 9 to 11. We would love for everybody here to join us. And it's going to be really focused on how are young people building our community? How are they participating in building a sense of belonging? How are they helping us build a welcoming region region. So we're very excited. They're going to open, they're going to close, and we're going to have lots of people in between sharing about how do we build belonging in Northwest Arkansas. And then the other amazing thing is that we're going to have community partners in the Ox Gym sharing about what they do. And our seniors are going to be able to walk through there, meet community partners, talk about potential internship opportunities, volunteering opportunities, hopefully some job opportunities. So we're very excited, and I can't stress here how incredibly welcoming. None of this would have happened without Jason and Trent. They have just been so supportive and have really opened up the school to us in a way that we never thought possible, and have not been invited to do by other communities and cities, I'll just be honest. And so honestly, my heart is so full, and I feel so privileged and grateful that I'm here before you, and I'm able to give a little bit of just a little bit of kudos to your incredible team here. Just thank you, and I hope to see you all there. And if you have any questions, please ask. I wanted to be short. If you go to Welcoming Week NWA.org, you will see hundreds of events on there. They're all through the region, but we would love to have you at the community launch if possible. Yes, Dr. Cleveland is going to be speaking and welcoming everyone as he does. And thank you for that. Great, thank you.
I think it's really important. As you know, the school is a heartbeat of a community, and at the center of that heartbeat are our students, and they're not only the future, they're also the present. So it's really good to bring people from Benton County and Washington County into our facilities and to be able to let them make sure they see our kids and they know that they're the future leaders of our community. So thank you for your support in that. Also, if you'll set your calendar for September 21st, that is the duck race in downtown Springdale. The Springdale Public Schools Education Foundation will be hosting their duck race. I have it on good authority that there are over 5,000 ducks that will be going in the creek on this day. So that'll be awesome. And what's really cool about that is attached to each duck are one of these sponsors. And as you all know, we've done this for many years. The Education Foundation has done this for many years. The first, I believe, 10 ducks that go across, they all have names on them, as you know. So the first 10 ducks that go across, the teacher or the school gets a $1,000 grant from the Education Foundation. So it's pretty exciting. So I just hope that you all will come out there. Our Education Foundation does a good job supporting our employees, our kids, our community. And September 21st will be fun. Just a quick note also for you, that is also, there's gonna be 3 events merging all at the same time, which will be kind of fun. It's Square to Square, there's Miracle League doing hamburgers that day, and the duck race. So it'll be fun, it'll be really energetic in downtown Springdale, and once again, it'll have an opportunity for the Springdale schools to create that synergy, to just be a part of the community, helping people see that we are, that we're at the center of this community. Do you have any questions about the Education Foundation and the duck race? Pardon?
Is it 11?
I believe that is accurate. Let's see. Yes, 11 a.m. I'm sorry that I didn't know that right off the top of my head. Yes, 11 a.m.
That's Saturday, must have been.
Saturday, September 21st.
No Razorback game that day?
Correct. After last Saturday, we may not mind if there was. So sorry. This is a public forum too. I'm so sorry. Okay, so with that being said, we have one more presentation. Assistant Communication Director John Steele Cooper is going to come up here, and he's going to make a presentation to you about Portrait of a Graduate. This was a great vision from Dr. Cleveland and you and our district administration team for the work that's been happening over the last several years, and tasked us with some cool vision that you all have. And John's a master, and he's going to share with you on what we're doing. I think you're going to be really proud, and we hope that you'll participate as well. So please, John Steele Cooper.
Hello, board. Dr. Cleveland, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about Portrait of a Graduate. So Dr. Cleveland tasked us with a marketing campaign, and we've kind of encapsulated it into the new era of public school, of public high school. So, and we're kind of thinking about it in a way of how does Springdale Schools holistically prepare our students to enter the workforce or college or military, and what skills or advantages have they given those students, whether it's Diploma Plus, internships, or AP classes or other certifications. And so we're really trying to think of how we are going to tell this story, and keeping in mind our primary audience is really parents and high school students. And so we really wanted to create a personal connection. So there's some graphics up here that show pictures of our graduates in with active phrases saying, if you come here, you can earn college credit while you're in school, or you can get that internship. And so we're really in the process right now of kind of gathering information from graduates and current students and kind of vetting them and seeing how best they'll fit in here. I've been working on spreadsheets to make sure I'm keeping track of all these students. One thing that we're doing is, as we were concepting all this thing, I was like, what's our first bridge to students? As in the communications office, sometimes we don't necessarily have those direct connections to the students. So I walk into the Springdale Educational Foundation office one day, and they have these boards of scholarship recipients. And so now we've entered into a partnership with the foundation to where they will help us kind of bridge that gap and provide contact information to students that I can, or former students that I can, have face-to-face conversations or phone calls to see how they will fit here. Unfortunately, not everybody will, but I definitely want to have that conversation. And the first student that I met at the end of last year was Diana Martinez, Springdale High graduate from last year, is currently in nursing school at NWAC. And so we caught up with her, and we created this little video to kind of show how Springdale schools gave her an edge in nursing school and what she wants to do post-graduation or post-nursing school. Oh, oops, I pressed the wrong button.
My name is Diana Martinez. I graduated from Springdale High School in 2023, and I am pursuing a degree in nursing at NWAC. So I found my passion for nursing at Springdale High School through the Medical Academy. With my PCA certification, I was able to kind of get a head start to receiving my CNA certification, as well as having the CPR certification that helped me put myself above others who didn't have the certification. My experiences at Springdale High School prepared me for college, but with the classes that I was able to take, for example, medical terminology, it was one of the classes I took in college, and it just helped me prepare and really excel in the class. I plan on using my nursing degree to come back into the community to teach and just invest into others, just as Springdale invested into me. I am Diana Martinez, and I am a portrait of a Springdale graduate.
Diana's currently working at Betterfield Trail as that CNA right now, earning experience while she's in school. And you saw that line below there. We're really using that kind of live, learn, work, grow, thrive, invest in Springdale as our kind of primary lens as we talk to people, as we create content. That's kind of our primary focus on how we approach our students. Any questions?
Great job.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board and Dr. Cleveland. We look forward to telling these stories. Obviously, if you have any students, we have a long history of having wonderful students come from here. Please share them with us. Just a point of correction, on the 21st, Arkansas is going to beat Auburn, no doubt about it. You heard it here first in a public forum. It's in the notes. Ms. Smalling put it in there. We are going to win. It is away, so I hope you'll come down and then we can all celebrate a Razorback victory. Thank you for letting us tell the stories of the Springdale School District. Thank you.
Mr. Donnell? Mr. Donnell's got a couple of topics to discuss. first is our free and reduced lunch report, and then we'll talk a little bit about the cell phone agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Emerson, members of the board, and Dr. Cleveland. Tonight, I'll be providing you with a brief update on free and reduced meal applications. As of today, if you can, I have a clicker, sorry. As of today, just as of maybe an hour ago, we reached 67.1%. This percentage represents the number of students who qualified for free and reduced meals based on household incomes. Just like last year, students who qualify for reduced meals will also be able to eat free this year, which is a great thing. I want to say a big thank you to principals, assistant principals, social workers, counselors, nurses, secretaries, registrars, teachers, the communication department, and many, many others who work tirelessly every day to ensure that every family has first been contacted. So hopefully everybody here has been contacted in some form or fashion. And second, been given an opportunity to complete a free and reduced meal application. That's our ultimate goal, is to contact everyone, make sure everyone has the opportunity to complete an application. And then every application is crucial because it represents another student who could benefit from free meals. Some of the benefits, as you can see up here for free meals include, first, just free nutritious breakfast and lunch. Second, free state SAT vouchers, free ACT waivers, free college credit options, free summer camp opportunities, free and reduced rates on college application fees, and then some overall community, I like to call them just community benefits, student, family, and district benefits would be funding for SRO and CSSO programs. We're very fortunate in our district with the leadership of Dr. Cleveland to have an armed presence in every one of our buildings. I'm very proud of that. And then nurses, we are very fortunate to have a nurse in every one of our school buildings as well. Some cases, some of our larger buildings, we have 2 nurses in there, and some of our higher needs buildings. And then also the social workers. We have a social worker that touches a school 2 days a week or 3 days a week, every school in our district, which is just amazing. And I'm gonna tell you, they lead this free and reduced lunch effort, and I'm gonna just say I couldn't do it without them. I mean, they are amazing young men and women and just couldn't do it without them. We still have 20 more days to reach our goal to contact every family member. I'm very confident that our amazing team will accomplish that, and I just want to see if you had any questions about it.
How many students is that left?
I knew you were going to ask that. I put that on my notes. So that puts us at 14,559 students who have been approved, and we still are searching out about 1,192 students. Yeah, we're down to that. Yep, head of the curve. I always want to be ahead of the curve. That's right, right?
Service programs really doing a lot of good work too.
Absolutely, absolutely. They are, I can't believe I forgot them. They are putting in applications every day. They're calling me if they have any questions, and it just great thing. Okay, cell phones. I'm going to move on to those. Any questions about free and reduced lunch? No questions. Okay, cell phone grant. During the last 2 board meetings, we've reviewed DESI's cell phone pilot grant program. We've reviewed Yonder pouches and district cell phone policies for grades 6 through 12 and approved DESI grant funding for the amount of $420,000. So we've reviewed all those things. During last month's board meeting, I reported to the board that where there was no set deadline to spend these grant funds, and as soon as you do that, somebody puts a deadline in place, right? So that's what happened. Well, someone must have been listening because DESI now set a deadline for Friday, September 27th to access these funds.
Really?
So yeah, that's exactly what happened. I mean, as soon as we do that, they set a deadline for you. So as you recall, this grant program will provide financial assistance to school districts participating in Phone-Free Schools pilot program. This funding is intended to support the purchase of pouches or other locking mechanisms, that's an important piece, to store student cell phones securely during school hours. By accepting grant funds, administrators, teachers, and staff agree to ensure students will place their phones in pouches or lockers at the start of each school day and keep them secure when in the classroom. Here's another very important part. Cell phones will only be accessible for medical emergency purposes or during approved non-academic times, and I believe that our new cell phone procedures that you see right here meet that definition. Today, I visited with middle school, junior high, and high school principals about their needs as it relates to cell phone pouches, lockers, and garages. And middle school principals stated overwhelmingly that they have really no need for pouches, lockers, or garages because when kids arrive at their school, as you can see by their procedures, They are able to have them before school starts. They place them in their locker the entire school day, and then they retrieve those phones out of their locker at the end of the day. So they really have no need for the pouches or the lockers or the garages. And then when I spoke with junior high and high school principals, they also didn't really have a big need for the pouches. They do want a few of the pouches just for some special circumstances. But they also did say that they could absolutely use the lockers and the lockable lockers and the cell phone garages, which they're already using right now. And so tonight, we're asking the board to consider accepting the DESE school cell phone grant funds to purchase cell phone lockers and garages to utilize in junior highs and high schools. And these resources are aligned with, again, DESE's requirements to use the funds, and then also I think it aligns with our procedures that we have in place in the district. Any questions that you have?
So there'll be a locker or a garage in each classroom?
No, there will be just garages are currently in classrooms, and we can purchase more of those just to replace ones that either are not functioning correctly or have been broken over the years. And then the lockers would be, that's actually a charging station, locker, and kind of sanitation station all in one that have UV lights in there. So you open up, it's a unit about this wide, about this deep, and there's 2 lockers on each end, and they are programmable. So a kid can come up, it's all student managed. A kid can come up and type in a number, they open that locker, they close it, hit lock. Now they have to remember the number, right, to get their phone back out, but then it's like a storage for them to charge it, and it's lockable during like a lunchtime or something like that, or before school or after school.
Will our $400,000 grant that we got be enough to cover what we need throughout the district?
I believe it will be, especially with the garages and the lockers and the combination of those. I believe it will be, yes. I have not put hard numbers to that, but I know what those cost, and I know what principals have told me today what they would need.
I think that's probably a more efficient use of the money versus a pouch that might have to be replaced every year.
Yeah, we have talked about that as a team, and you know, if we move to those pouches, we have to also realize that that's going to be a reoccurring expense year after year after year after year. So, and I'm not sure that DESE will have grant funds year after year after year after year. I can pretty much guess they won't have those funds. So we're trying to, you know, the last board meeting you asked kind of what the feelings were for the principals. I reached out to them today just to see how things were going. I know that's only been a week or a month's time, but all things are going well with the new process, and I believe this would be a good step forward to move forward with.
We were hoping to have a lunch and learn where they could come in and you could talk to them and really get into depth about what's happening in each building with each principal. But then there was a deadline, and so now here we are.
Well, can we ask the principals?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. What do you think?
Are y'all seeing any pushback, I guess, is my biggest thing.
Won't y'all come up to the
what
microphone?
about- Does the locker, I mean, do the teachers feel like the police out there, that they're having to do extra work?
Let these two answer that.
No, it really hasn't been any extra work at all. Now, I will say that more than half of our teachers were already using the lockers or the garages. And then we adopted, everyone has one this year. It's just been very positive. Teachers are telling me we're getting more student talk, more conversation in our classrooms than ever. And I'll tell you, I was afraid in the cafeteria that you would see a lot of kids on their phones, but it really hasn't been the case. Like, it's really, I think kids talking in the classroom has led to conversation in the cafeteria as well, which that was something that I didn't anticipate. But so far it's been really positive.
I can vouch for him. I was over there today for most of the lunch, and it's exactly what I observed. It's great.
I think that the teachers appreciate a procedure in place that they can refer back to, that it's not just their procedure in their classroom, that we're supporting them on a school-wide level. And then I think parents appreciate the upfront communication that we've given them, so that they are aware of, you know, what happens if they do have a phone out. We have been, much like Mr. Jones, very positively influenced by, you know, the change. I love that kids are talking and having more interaction with each other. It's fun. Some positive things that have also happened is our vape detectors have not gone off as much because they're not being able to, you know, have that conversation, and the social media issues of just the bullying type situations are not as prevalent because of, they just don't have access to that. So that's been great on administration end to, focus our attention on teaching and learning instead of dealing with those things. So overall, very positive.
What about on the junior high level?
We don't have we just have the same policy that we've had. We walk in the hallways and enforcing it in the classrooms and the teachers. I think having that at the higher level has helped too. The teachers feel more comfortable to enforce no cell phones, so.
Are we having any problem with any teachers not enforcing the rule? That's one thing I always heard, that you gotta have the teachers on board, make sure they all do the same thing, so that, one kid's not going, well, Mrs. Jones said we could do it, but Mr. Smith said we couldn't, so.
Now, early on, we had a little bit of an issue where some teachers were allowing it during advisory time, but we had established as a faculty, we took it to a faculty vote, said no cell phones during advisory. So there's a couple of people that maybe they missed that meeting or they missed that commitment, that we've had that conversation, and since then we haven't had any kind of issues at all. And when we go through a classroom walkthrough, administrators, instructional facilitators, we have a form that we fill out, and it's actually on the form where we check for cell phone garages.
I have one more question. Something that other districts have ran into is the issue of parents when they're wanting to come pick up their student, or if the student's sick and they want to go to the office and call. Typically, they've used their cell phone to text and say, I'm on my way, or hey, will you come pick me up? Are you seeing more of an issue with parents or students coming to the office and not having, because that's, if you change it to that, you're having a lot more students in your run offices than you normally would.
I will say that the phone calls have increased. Luckily, we have office runners that we utilize each block of the day, so we send them with a note or just informing them. And we tell parents, feel free to call, and we'll happily send a message out to your student. So,
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I do think that we would have had a lot more problems if we wouldn't allow cell phones between class and at lunch. So with us, we have limited transition time because of being on the block schedule, but I think that there is a place where we had to teach kids how to use phones responsibly at the high school level. So I think having that time between class and at lunch has helped teach responsibility, but it also allows enough communication between the student and the parent to where we don't have a whole lot of pushback. If we would have chosen to go the route of, by the time you get to school to the end of school, you don't have your phone.
So where are the phones at during class?
They are hanging on a wall, hanging on a classroom wall, usually by the door. The pouches, yeah, the pouches are hanging there. And one thing that we do, there was a concern that they would have theft, but probably around 3 to 4 minutes before class is out, you have all the kids go up, grab your cell phone. That way, if a kid were to say, hey, I'm missing my cell phone, you can lock the classroom down. You know that it's somewhere in the classroom, and I think we've only had that one time, and that was last year when we had it. So we haven't had any issues this year. But so there's some strategies involved that teachers are very good at to eliminate some of the concerns.
And then what about at the junior high level? Where are their phones at? So they just get to have it in their backpack. Okay.
we do kind of a combination of both at Tyson.
So that also answers the parents that are concerned about should there be an emergency.
Right.
The picture you see in like the first pictures, as I'm looking at it left to right, the first three pictures are the self-managed lockers where students can store, and you can see that green light. It's a sanitation UV light. And so, one person puts it in there, and the next person puts it in there, and just kind of creates a sanitary environment. And then the phone garage would be on the very far right there. That's just one example of a phone garage that you install on the wall, and then kids just slide their phone in there as the school day goes for each class to class to class. So again, the first three pictures are all student managed. That would be during the times that they can already have their phone, and then the other time would be instructional time where they wouldn't be able to have their phone. That's really not different than what we're doing right now.
Is the garage on the right? Those don't charge? Those don't charge?
Those don't charge at all.
The other two
No, sir. Yes, the other three do.
The other three?
Yes, the other three charge. One's just a 20 unit, and the other one's like a 48 unit.
Okay, I thought those were the same.
What are the cost run on those?
The 48 unions, I think it's $2,000 for that piece there, and then these are, the phone garages are very, very affordable. I mean, they're like $60, $70 for one of those, under $100. Super affordable.
And y'all have more of the phone garages.
Our garages look like what you would put your shoes in on the back of a closet. Yeah, it runs about $20, and then add another $10 for the hooks, so around $30 a collision. Yes, exactly like that. Exactly like that. Yes.
And that's just one example that we can do the caddies, exactly what they have, just replace what we're already currently.
And so at the junior high level, like just making them leave it in their backpack, you're not having issues with that?
We don't have any issues. I mean,
Okay.
occasionally, once or twice, student put a picture on that, but not really. And they're never, we haven't ran into any like whether pushback or disrespectful.
Yeah.
They just put it right back where you asked.
I did have several junior high principals that said that if they had like a garage, they might not change what they're doing right now, but at least would give a teacher an option to say, okay, listen, you have your phone out, go put it in the garage, that type of thing.
Okay.
So they like that idea, at least having it as an option.
I think it would be beneficial. I mean, we don't have major issues in the classroom with our kids, but I think teachers would feel better about like, hey, let's just put them away, and it would be more consistent across the building, what kind of Jason.
It almost seems like the junior highs are a little more laxed than the high schools are. So that's why I just didn't know.
Right.
And it's not new for junior high, so we've
Right.
been doing this for a few years.
Yeah.
So it's not new policy for us.
Yeah.
But I agree that it would be nice to have a few extras.
Yeah, okay.
A real benefit to the cell phone garage, having them in the garage, is that when they ask to go to the restroom, you don't take your cell phone with you. It stays. And so that's a benefit of the cell phone garage.
And that's a big benefit too, because if a kid takes their backpack, or they got it, it's not in the backpack, it's in their pocket, sometimes it is in the pocket, so when they go to the restroom, that's helpful.
When they get to high school, they gotta put it in the garage, you might as well start putting it in the garage in junior high.
I'm good with that.
I mean, really, just get used to it.
So who here has the Smittle tube?
Uh, we don't have, we have a version of that at Don Tyson's. But the really nice thing about that piece of equipment there is, I don't know if you can see the key lock. The ones at Don Tyson don't have the key lock on them, which then you have, if a kid forgets their password, you have to go down there to reprogram it with this card. And this, we can give a master key to an assistant principal or principal. And if a kid, inevitably, a kid's gonna forget the code, that they type in there, and you can just key it open. You get the phone out, leave it open, and the next kid comes along.
If you're doing this after every period, then I can see a bunch of kids flocking to this thing 5 minutes before the bell, trying to get everything like.
This wouldn't be in classrooms.
Okay, where
Yeah,
would it
this
be
would
then?
be like in cafeterias and out in just commons areas.
And we do have those in the locker rooms in the new construction. We have them in the locker rooms.
Sounds like y'all know what you're doing to me.
Good.
Thank you.
Is there any of these that are sideways too, so that like multiple students can access instead of, because I see these as a tower. If one person is in front of it, you got another 5 kids waiting to get there, yeah.
That's a good idea. We might think about just, placing them like that. So where one's on one side and one's on here and one's on the other side. It's kind of back to back to back. That could be something we could look at. Or buying smaller units so that they're not so many in one and placing them in more places. That's a good point.
Do you have any teachers who have a specific assignment where they want kids to have a phone, like they're researching or doing something?
Yes, we talked about that. We've said, if you have a certain task where you need to get the phone out to do some kind of research, I know band, during marching band, they actually have their positions on the field on an app. And so we have said, hey, if you got something that is a class, we trust you to use your best judgment in that. We also say, if you got a student that comes up to you and they're like, hey, my boss is going to call me or my mom is going to call me, we just say, hey, just be reasonable with the student and let them go up and check it. And if they don't have the message from their mom, then say, hey, you can come back and check it in 10 minutes. So teachers, they're reasonable.
That band app has been a game changer too. So in the past.
And we've got him off on band.
I know, I'm gonna say this. In the past, you'd have drill set charts, so you'd have to flip back and forth to kind of see where you're going. And now your spot is on this app, and it just shows you where your path is to go on the field for each move, and it shows all the designs on your phone. It's amazing. It's instructionally, I'm just gonna tell you this, instructionally, it's saved our band directors are about 3.5 weeks ahead of where they ever have been because of how much faster they're moving through drill with the staff.
Band app.
I know that was a whole, you got me on this band thing, but hey, I had to say that. It's pretty amazing. You need to go out there and watch it. Some kids watch it. It's very, very cool.
I just like when your brain starts going on something.
I'm sorry.
We've seen
You
live.
get excited and it's contagious.
Julie Stevens, I hope he's watching tonight. He called me. He was so excited. He's about 4 weeks ahead of where he was at that point last year. And that's a big deal.
Okay, so we don't want cell phones, but if somebody's using this band app, we want them to have it.
Have the band
I love you, Debbie Creed.
Thank you. Sorry to pull y'all up, but.
Thanks, y'all.
Bottom line is we'll do what you, as a board, want us to do. We're happy to do it. But we want to give you as much feedback early as possible.
You can just vote.
Well, we already voted on it, so.
To accept the funding, do we need a vote on that? Okay.
Make a motion that we accept the funding for the grant to lock our cell phones in garages or whatever.
I have a motion by Mrs. Creek and a second by Mr. Ramos to accept the cell phone grant funding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great job, Mr. O'Neill. And everyone else who participated. It's great. Next, we have our Washington County Hazard Mitigation Plan. This is new to you. This is something our county has just now gotten to. Over time, Washington County's been a little bit behind in that we haven't had a hazard mitigation plan that's been passed, at the judge's level down because, well, they haven't been able to complete it. It's a fairly labor-intensive process, but this county judge has, and we're appreciative of that. This would allow our district and other districts in Washington County to apply for FEMA assistance. Maybe if we do safe rooms or things like that, FEMA has the opportunity or provides the opportunity for us to apply, and they'll pay 75% of the cost. The district pays 25%. And of the 25%, if we have under a 2-year plan, the state will pay whatever your wealth index is of that 25%. So it's a really good thing for us. So I'm very appreciative of our county judge, Form Court, for producing the Washington County Hazard Mitigation Plan. It's kind of a big deal. So we need to be able, if you will, pass this resolution, and then I will send it in to the county judge's office, and we'll be on the list. Do you have any questions about it? Okay.
Can we just say adopt the resolution?
As presented?
I make a motion to adopt the resolution for the Washington County Hazard Mitigation Plan. I can't see my paper. Mitigation plan.
I have a motion to adopt the resolution for the Washington County Hazard Mitigation Plan by Ms. Cook and a second by Mr. Bell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much. That helps a lot. I don't know that we'll be able to apply. If we have the opportunity, we will. Tar Smith?
Good evening, Dr. Cleveland Board. So I'm here to present the annual report to the public. So first of all, I want to just mention our vision and mission statement, which drives everything we do. Our mission is pursuing educational excellence. Springdale Schools, public schools ensures a safe and inclusive environment, empowering a community of learners. Our vision, Springdale Public Schools provides personalized, innovative, and culturally diverse learning opportunities to launch each student to a successful life pursuit. I know you've seen these a few times. Our big audacious goals, as you remember, you were part of the designing of these goals. The first two are making sure that every student is on or above grade level in reading and math every year. Number three is we'll exceed the state averages on summative assessments. Number 4, this one was designed when we had a different accountability system. The new accountability system is coming out soon. And so our district guiding coalition will be looking at these goals again, and they'll probably look at number 4 about maybe making some changes to that. But each child will be on the pathway to on-time graduation through engagement, which really meant attendance. So we'll be looking at that one. And the last one, you guys, we wrote this goal like years ago. Each student will engage in college career planning that will lead to a post-secondary graduate placement. And right below that, I put employment, enrollment, and enlistment, which is now what's just coming to the forefront at the State Department. So we're way ahead of the game on that. Our focus this year was Wonder. We were so blessed to have Mr. Rogers come, AKA Dr. Cleveland, come and do our set for the back to school. He also had some friends come and visit, AKA Mr. Emerson. Neighbors, yes, some neighbors. Yeah, yes. It was a very slimming red sweater, yes, yes. Yeah. Please notice I did chop some of the pictures and make them a little shorter. How's that? But the idea is that when you wonder, you learn, and that's really our message as we go through this year. We'll be using this theme throughout the year. And these tie beautifully into our 4 pillars, which is safety, student achievement, personalization, and partnerships, which you'll hear throughout this presentation. Culture of collaboration, that is our foundation. We can't do what we do in isolation. It requires collaboration. So these are just a few. I've tried to list as many as possible, but our school board luncheons, our lunch and learns. We have a weekly meeting at the district level with Dr. Cleveland leading those meetings. We have Wednesdays that you guys were so gracious to give us that time with our collaborative team meetings. We have our district guiding coalition that Ms. Fink is really heading up, and will be starting soon. We have our principals monthly meeting, which will be Thursday. They're normally Thursday after a board meeting. Dr. Cleveland always does a great job of just really visiting with the principals about what their needs are and what's happening kind of around the state. And then that's followed up by roundtables with Ms. Fink and Ms. Tischer for those grade bands. We also have our instructional specialists that work regularly on our essential standard work. We have our AP meetings, which I just have to say that our administrators are juggling a lot of things. And at one time, there was a lot of meetings that were being held, and we tried to condense them so that they weren't being pulled out of the building as much. And so once a month, they'll have an AP meeting, and it's normally for half a day. They talk about safety, 504, ESL testing, family engagement, and I could just keep going on, but I won't. And then the other half of that day, we have the instructional facilitators with them, and we do our teaching and learning collaborative so that we're always on the same heading in the same direction about what's happening in terms of teaching and learning. We also have our ongoing coaching cycles. We have our monthly meetings with our counselors, our CSSOs, our social workers, our nurses, and then just recently we started our Aspiring Administrators Academy, and I just have to say, I wish they could have really gone into the depth that this team has put together these meetings. We will make sure we send out the calendar invites, but I'm telling you, these administrators were so excited about putting together the idea of what it would be like to explain their job in Springdale. So it's going to be amazing. The next 2 slides, you will see this visual to the right, and this is somewhat what we call our teaching and learning playbook. And I'm really going to focus on that image just for a minute. But if you notice in the center, it says authentic engagement. Not engagement, but authentic engagement. Like, what is it we truly want our students to be engaged in so they are learning the standards they're supposed to? Well, if you'll notice the triangle, we have our behaviors. So if we have a support system in place to address behaviors, step 1, then we can move on to the language supports. And when we talk about language support, it's not just for our English language learners, but it's the supports that we have for all of our students. Take it with instruction. We have our curriculum, which is what they give us to teach, but then we have our instruction on how we teach it. And so you put those 3 things together and you really do have a beautiful, idea of teaching and learning. If you'll notice the circle that surrounds it, it is the coaching of connecting capacity and clarity. So that is the visual that we use for our teaching and learning focus. We always have a focus K-12 on literacy, numeracy, and college ready. That same image goes to creating quality lessons. So when teachers are creating these quality lessons, they're looking at the high quality instructional material, which you had last month and the board listed everything out, using these research-based instructional strategies. How do we engage students so that all students are engaged, just not some? And use technology. I've been in classrooms, probably about 30 classrooms in the last 2 days, and all the technology I've been seeing has been directly a support and not a tool used to teach, but a tool to help provide instruction in that. We have rubrics to guide and ensure rigor. And again, literacy and math embedded in everything that we're doing. And then there's an emphasis on science as well. Student-centered programs. I'm not going to list all of these. I know you've seen these before, but we're one of the largest programs in Arkansas for early childhood, a Rockstar Special Education Program. You can read through those. Our Family Literacy Program, our RTI for academics and behaviors. So great student-centered programs. Advanced programs. So sometimes you never see these just in a list, and this is just awesome. So first of all, we have gifted and talented for our students, but we also provide an honors academic challenge as they start getting a little older. We have a lot of students taking high school credit in 8th grade, and a few of them getting credit in 7th grade, so we're accelerating their learning. You heard Mr. Fontenopoulos talk about the advanced placement programs. Last month, we celebrated our IB students, so that was awesome. We have our concurrent classes or our college classes. We are ahead of the game, so the new accountability system is talking about a diploma plus, and a diploma plus plus, and a lot of those are based on either advanced programs or some of our CTE programs and the mixture of those two. So great there. Our biliteracy program, we set the bar high in our state, national career academies, and associate's degrees. So a lot of different advanced programs we have for our students. I know you hear a lot about our CT, but as our students are coming forward, you're hearing that their career that they're planning for really does involve some of these advanced courses that are really setting them up nicely for deciding what they want to do when they leave Springdale schools. Here's a list of our CTE programs, and I'll just wait a minute to let you read through them. I know one thing that Dr. Cleveland is working on with Ms. Tischer and Mr. Ellis is really ensuring that we have rock-solid programs and ensuring that students, no matter which school they go to, have an opportunity to participate in any of these programs, no matter where the school is that's offering them.
I thought we had an education one, like a brief.
We do have one. I might be missing one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Law twice, but I thought maybe.
You're right, I'm missing one. There's 16, and I have 15. Yeah, and do I have law twice, did you say? Oh, yeah, I do. Well, there you go, I'm missing another one.
We do have
I will
education
fix
one.
that, yes,
Sorry.
yes. Yeah. And by the way, this is found on the state website, so or our district website, I'll fix that. HQIM, I know you've heard a lot about this. It is an ongoing kind of moving target for us, but we finally settled in, and I've been hearing people say how amazing this is. So we have our phonics first and structures in place that we've been doing that for a couple years. Our benchmark workshop is really rolling out this year. Odell, these are our high quality instructional materials. Dyslexia, we're still waiting for final rules right now, but we have 2 programs right now of which we're solidifying which one of those will be our dyslexia program. Math, we are using illustrative mathematics for K-12. We do have some district materials that kind of support some of the work, but it's a great program. Arkansas Math Quest is where a lot of our teachers are being trained. With our ESSER funds, we tried to make sure all of our teachers at the time were trained through Arkansas Math Quest. Just some basic information, some details. We had 2,177 students. Actually, that's currently last year. I think we had about, there was a difference of 20. They might have had 20 more. You can just kind of go through how we support our students in GT. When they start hitting the higher grades, 8 through 12, that's when you start meeting the needs of the students through advanced programs, which were on that other slide. This information Mr. Fontenopoulos shared with you tonight about how many we're administering and the increase in the number. DTSOI for years did concurrent classes. They do an exceptional job with that, and they're starting to grow their AP program, so they've got a mixture of both. So both of the numbers are starting to increase for those programs. National merit, I wanted to just give you a snapshot of the number of students that are semifinalists and finalists. And we've got some additional information that I did not add. That will be out in the next week or so for this last year. So I'll just leave it at that. Our IB students, you know, this is a very, very rigorous program. Students that go through the IB program, some of them are giving 30, 35 exams a year. The programs are not necessarily the students taking them. It's a very rigorous set of standards that they have to meet. And so as you can see, these are the diploma recipients. So students have the option, if they don't quite make it, to go back and pick it up in the summer and retake the assessments to get the diploma. But like I said, very rigorous program. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. We have our science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, our STEAM. We have 26 East programs. Of course, when you think about that, we also have our engineering and architecture, maker spaces. They've got some great things going on in some of these schools. Elementaries are really designing things with their library media specialists. And then we have Genius Hour.
So we have East in all of our elementary?
No. No, we don't have them in Rollins, Young, Elmdale, and DTSOI.
Are we still trying to get there, or are we done with, are we topped out, or what?
I think currently, right now, the way East is working, because we're offering so many pathways, that we can meet the needs of our students in other ways. So it's just kind of trying to find that balance. Some of the schools, we have like a half-time East, a half-time CTE teacher. So they're kind of integrating both of those programs together. Partnerships, there's no way to express all of our partnerships, but I will just say, you know, we have our business and industry partnerships. You hear Mr. Donnell talk about the Treehouse Pantry partners. We have post-secondary partners. I could go on and on about those. Our chamber, Springdale Education Foundation, and our advisory partners for CTE, but lots and lots of different partners. And by the way, that picture is those kids standing there are on that it's precious. Parent engagement, we do have the Springdale Family Literacy Program in 8 of our schools. And you've probably been hearing a little bit about our parent university that we've been bringing in, and this kind of addresses some of the East conversation, but Mr. Ellis and his team are going into all the elementaries and bringing in students and parents, and they're learning some different things. I've put a picture here for you, but they're coming together, and I've sat through one of the evenings, and it's pretty impressive. You walk away with, I now know how to do some stuff with my electricity, so I'm just saying it's pretty good. Our enrollment, I'll give you a minute to look at that. This was pulled September 5th. When I compared it to November 5th of last year, I think there's a difference of 57 students.
Positive or negative?
We're down 58, I think 58 students. But this is September 5th, and it was compared to November of last year.
When's the final number supposed to be?
Ideally, it would be nice to count October to October.
An interesting number I shared with our team, you may have read in the leadership notes, is that we had just under 1,900 kids that were rising first graders to 11th graders that left us for some reason, whether it's out of state, out of country, different public school, private school, homeschool, whatever, we have just as many, just a few more than that number come to us new. So a 4,000 student almost population swing in 1 year, so 4,000 different students. Isn't that interesting? There's a lot of movement in Northwest Arkansas.
And
Is there a way to know, like, where, like, differences? You mentioned they're all in one pot, but is there a way to know if they left town or if they moved to another school? There's no system to kind of
Yes,
keep.
Mr. Donnell's even part of the effort to maybe do some exit interviews with people who leave. Why, what's going on, you know, what's going on in their life. But yes, we know if they go to another public school or public charter school in Arkansas, we know that through tri-end or records requests. We know if they go to another district outside of the state, we get records requests there as well. And we also know if they go to homeschool because they provide paperwork to homeschool or kindergarten waiver or things like that. But when people leave the country, oftentimes we don't. So those students are what we call lost students.
And one thing that our testing administrators do, so our APs, they collect all the testing information on students, and then we're required to put in information about where those students are when they don't test. And so they do a lot of research about where those students are, so we can document that information in that portal as well. Academic achievement, I would like to draw your attention to the bottom sentence. We still do not have spring data, so this is a couple years old, so I'm just really going to move on because you've seen this twice now, but we are waiting for our last year's data to come in. We're expecting it mid-October. So more information to come on that. Our proficiency with students who take our English language proficiency, I know this is small print, but really what I want you to do is just look at the green at the very top. The first bar represents when our students come to us, and then after 1 year with us, you can see the growth that they have in the green bars, and you can see across the grade bands. As you get to grades 8 through 10th, it does get smaller. It's a little bit harder to acquire the English language as you get older. It's a little easier for students that are younger, so you can see a little bit more growth there. Our graduation rate, please note, our graduation rates are always a year behind, and this information not only is a year behind, but they're changing the new accountability system where they're not going to be looking at 4-year and 5-year, only 4-year. So this information you have already seen before as well, and hopefully new information will come out that I can share with you with the new information. Just wanted to highlight our schools of innovation. We have John Tyson School of Innovation, Rollins Elementary, John Tyson Elementary, Sonora Elementary, Sonora Middle, Westwood Elementary, and John Tyson, which I have there twice. There you go. So, and I even put a picture there, so they got highlighted 3 times. So our schools of innovation right there. We're very proud of them. We are required to turn in our bullying report, our annual bullying report. I think you probably heard from the high school principals that cell phone use has decreased, which will probably help a lot with social media stuff that happens, which will possibly reduce that. You might be wondering, why did it go up and what's happening? And a lot of that had to do with coming out of COVID. Kids are showing up a lot more, kids are there, kids are more engaged with each other, and then things happen. And so I think the cell phones will help a lot with that. Any questions? Okay, so just wanted you to know that all of our schools are accredited, all 29. Remember, we have our pre-K, and ALE does not have its own LEA number, so we're all accredited. And in closing, Dr. Cleveland gave us this quote: "I appreciate our committed staff for their dedication to student achievement, and I'm thankful to all our valued stakeholders for their continued support in shaping our educational community." I know that was really quick, but do you guys have any questions? I think. Yes.
What I'm curious about in multiple things that
Okay.
we've looked at from you and
Yes.
probably from before from like with the AP scores, is if it would be possible if we could pull some like 17 and 18, 2017, 2018, some years before COVID.
Sure.
To see, I want to try to figure out if some of our numbers, if we're coming back out of it because of that, or if our numbers were higher before COVID, or if, because it just, the numbers confuse me on why and where, and so I see it the first pop, but from there, so if there's any way.
We can do that, yes.
We can.
Yes.
I
So
just
you want a
wanted to see what-
comparison from 16 all the way to now? We can do that. We can just.
Well,
do
just
it.
really almost just the two, I mean, just to see if we're coming back to pre-COVID.
Yep.
If that makes sense. If a lot of our numbers, and then with some of our numbers, we're going the wrong way, because we're seeing kids coming out of COVID and just the reaction to COVID and like we've seen with the bullying increase or with the behavior increase or whatever, but just comparing in our heads pre-COVID versus now.
One thing, just as we pull that data, know that we are now offering 3 more AP exam courses than we've ever offered too. So there will be a slight difference with those numbers.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean across the board. I mean, just like with anything, just seeing how we can compare education as a whole, just pockets of different things that you just showed, and AP of what was pre-COVID and what's now. And I mean, we obviously see, the 1920 and 2021 were pretty rough years. So are we above what, and just comparing those instead of just looking at it from COVID to now.
Yes, we can get that information for you. That'll be pretty easy.
Sorry.
Yes, no, that's good. Good information. Anything else? Thank you.
Dr. Smith's a lot taller than me. Good evening, Board and Dr. Cleveland. So the first item that I have on the agenda is the approval of, or seeking approval of the budget for this coming year for school year 24-25. And so I want to direct you to the small paper clipped packet. And so on the front page, page 1, is the financial summary for 23-24. That's for funds 1, 2, and 4. And this is just a culmination of school year 23-24. I wanted to show you that also I did include Fund 3 because we did do a building fund transfer at the end of the year of $9 million. And so we started our year of July 1st, 2023 at $28,609,779. And then we had our year-to-date revenue of $240,396,669. Then we had those year-to-date expenses of $229,669,555. And then after that transfer of that $9 million, then our ending balance, unrestricted fund balance as of June 30th, 2024 was the $30,336,893, which becomes our starting balance that you'll see on page 2, which is our projection for this year. So we're going to start at the $30,336,892. I've projected revenues, and we'll go into that in just a little bit more detail here in just a moment, of $240,501,735. And if you'd like to go ahead and pull that page 3, that's why I didn't staple them together, so that you could look at that as a comparison. So as you'll see at the top portion of that for Fund 2, I've got the actual revenue for 2023-24 compared to the budgeted revenues for 24-25, so that you can see those comparing the different sources of those revenues. So as you'll see about midway down that page, my projected revenue for the operating fund is $240,501,735. And so embodied in that is a little bit kind of referring back to the first page, is my tax revenues are based on the lower millage rate of 39.8. As y'all recall, we had that rollback last year. But with the county being on a calendar year and the district being on a fiscal year, we kind of have like half a year that we're at the higher millage rate and half a year that we're at the lower. But I'm a very conservative person, so I budgeted based on the lower millage rate. So all that to say, revenues are budgeted pretty conservatively and low, where you'll see expenditures are budgeted kind of at high as to just to kind of make up for those changes that occur during the year. So State foundation, this is a note that's on page 3. State foundation funding, it decreased about $4 million, and that's reflective of our increase in tax revenues, because the initial per student funding amount for year 24 was a little over $5,000, but with our increase in assessments, our initial per student funding amount for school year 25 was reduced to a little over $4,800. So you're kind of seeing that you're seeing the increase on the tax revenue, and you're seeing a decrease on the state funding amount. Tax collections and debt service mills are budgeted at a collection rate of about 95%. On the URT mills, which is the first 25, we are guaranteed to collect 98% of those. So I budget based on that, because we know that at the end of the school year, if we don't collect that full amount, the state's going to true us up for that amount and give us that. But where we could find a shortfall potentially is in our debt service mills, because there's nothing in statute that guarantees us that money. So I budgeted based on 25% collection rate, but historically our collection rate is more than that. It's been about a little over 97%. So I've got a little bit of play, I guess, in that, where I've kind of lowered what our expectations are on revenues, but I feel confident that we're going to be ahead of that. So just to reflect on page 3, about midway down that page, we've got our breakdown as to how our revenues, our source of our revenues. So we've got about 41.7% comes from property taxes. State foundation aid is 43.5%. State designated funding is 14.2%, and other sources is 0.6%. I also wanted to note that on our other grants and aid for the state, right now, as of the present time, we know that we're going to receive we received our teacher minimum salary increase. That was some one-time funding that we got this year that we will not receive next year. That was just a one-time thing that we got from the state. That was $874,924. That's our they call it teacher equalization funding. And then we also got our LEARNS Act funding, which we got the same amount that we got last year, was $3,848,532. So that's what's included in other grants and aid for the state. As far as our budgeted revenue, you do see that there is 1.2 less budgeted than what we actually received last year. And that's going to be because of the school safety grant that we got last year that was just under $845,000. We feel like, Mr. Donnell and I've talked about this, we feel like that we might receive that again this year, but we do not have any notification of that at the present time, so I couldn't include that. The other difference is we got some other computer science grants, and also our incentive pay from DESE that we got, I think in May, that we paid out those merit teacher incentives. That was another $460,000. So that's why you're seeing the difference in that. I feel pretty confident that by the end of the year, you're going to see that amount of other grants and aid in state is going to be closer to what our actual revenue was for school year 24. Any questions so far on the revenue side? Okay. All right, so then I want to direct you to page 4. That's where you're going to see, and I did change up how this looks a little bit. I wanted it to be more in line with what y'all are seeing on a monthly basis. And so I did change this a little bit different format than what you saw last year. For school year 23-24, as we talked about, the total expenditures were $229,669,555. Our budgeted for this year is $245,754,307. You'll see that there's an increase in Fund 1, which is our teachers. Included in Fund 1 is your teacher salary, gross pay, your certified teachers, as well as Unum, which is 0.005%, and then Delta Dental is included in that Fund 1. We expected that increase. We did the $600 increase to the base, and then we had the step increases. For Fund 2, the amount, the operating fund expenditures is $119,307,838. That's a $13,800,000 increase. A lot of that is reflective of as we're moving those ESSER funds, those previous ESSER expenditures that we had into our regular budget. We've also done, we also are required to budget, like for instance, an example that I gave on page 1 was like our Arkansas school recognition funding had a carryover balance of $1.4 million. We have to go ahead and budget that, even though we may or may not spend all of that in this school year. So when you're looking at the, when you're comparing the expenditures to the revenues, you also have to remember that part of that fund balance that we're starting out with, that $30 million, part of those expenditures we have to budget, that's part of that. So you're not always going to see current revenues and current expenditures being a complete match. Let's see, I want to see if I had any other notes that I wanted to mention on that. Okay, page 5 is just a final page, and it's just more of a summary of the federal grants that we receive. I've noted what is available for 24-25, and then actually what we received in school year 23-24. Some of the things that I wanted to note is the COP STOP grant. Now, this information, as far as our available balance, is based on what we know currently. And so we know that some of those federal funds, we have not gotten our notification yet as to what those are going to be. So we're waiting on a few information, or we just went ahead and budgeted what we had last year, and we know that it might change a little bit. The biggest decrease that you're seeing, obviously, is the spending down of the ARP ESSER funds, which was what we were expecting to happen. As you know, those have to be obligated by the end of this month, and so we've got about $523,000 that we had available as of June 30th that carried over into this school year. And of course, we've got all of those funds are obligated at this time. On our food service fund summary, the second column is what we actually collected last year in food service revenue, and it's broken out, as you can see, by paid meals, state aid, and federal aid. I budgeted those very conservatively again on our revenue side. Feel pretty confident that we'll exceed those as well as we go forward through the school year. I feel like I kind of rushed through that. Is there any questions? Or?
And also, if you just really kind of boil it down, top line, we've got a beginning balance of $30 million, or revenues flat year over year, $240 million.
Mm-hmm.
Expenditures are up 6.5%. Two big categories, teacher salary and general operating cost. And you have a target of $25 million net, so that's top line.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I did not budget anything for a building fund transfer. I usually kind of have a target of where I want that to be, but I really don't look at that until we kind of see, November, December are our biggest months for our tax collections, and to me, that tells me a lot about where we are. And then also mid-year, we've got quite a bit budgeted in our I guess what I'd call our overhead expenses. And as, you know, the last couple of years have shown us, by us being able to transfer that $9 million into our budget, into our building fund, we have always come in significantly less than what our budget is. So I feel confident that we'll be in the same spot. It's just, I have to be very conservative with where we are and try to have I guess, a cautiously optimistic plan of where I think we're going to end the year.
Next year, we'll be able to have these financials to you much sooner, especially.
Yes.
for all of the efforts and all that. So that's good for us, good for you. Hopefully, you'll be able to have a dashboard that you can see that.
I make a motion to approve the 24-25 budget as presented.
Second.
So I have a motion by Mrs. Creek and a second by Mrs. Cook to approve the 2024-25 proposed budget. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. The next item I have, again, part of the reason why this was late being sent out to you is that the budget part had to be in this document as well. And so as we were a little delayed on getting the budget part, that kind of delayed the timing of me being able to upload this document. So that's why you have a copy of it in your hand instead of it being digital. However, I'll be happy to share that with you digitally if you don't want to maintain the paperwork. So I would like to direct your attention to the revenue report. So far collected to date, I wanted to mention is other grants and aid and state. We've already received our money from the Teacher Equalization and the LEARNS Act money, so that's reflected in this document for this month. And then, as you'll see, there's a negative in Fund 6, and that's where we've reversed the accruals in Fund 6. We have to there's a lag in when they pull our federal expenditures. They usually pull those the second Saturday of every month, but then over the summer, it's usually we do not start receiving federal reimbursements again until September, but we have to end the year at a zero. So we accrue those at the end of June so that we can zero those funds out, and then we reverse that accrual. So you should see that will probably turn around at the end of September as we start receiving those federal fund reimbursements. And then our expenditure side, we're on target where we expected that we would be. We're up just a little bit on operating fund 2, but I feel like that will level out and we'll be about, I feel like we're about where we need to be on that. Are there any questions on the August financials?
Do you have any information you can share with the board from last month? We talked about that one check that was intercepted, and you were talking about positive pay. Could you share what you learned?
I sure can. So as far as the check goes, the bank made us whole immediately. In fact, the bank actually, I think the very next day that we reported the check to them, they redeposited those funds in our account. And so that check was initially drawn off of, well, the check was drawn off of us, but it was cashed at a Chase Bank in Georgia who did not follow their protocols on someone walking in the door and presenting a check off of a out-of-state public school. And so Chase Bank made our bank whole with, I don't know that they were expecting those funds within just a day or two of the last conversation I had with the bank. And so I spoke with our Springdale Police Department. We filed the report as we were required to do, and they basically just closed it because it was not in their jurisdiction that the fraudulent activity occurred. So then I spoke with, we really didn't know, Chase Bank was not forthcoming as to exactly where the check was cashed. And so we just went with the county where they had changed the vendor name to, if that makes sense, and the address that was provided on the fraudulent check. And so I spoke with a deputy sheriff detective out in that county in Georgia, and he just noted the file. He said that since we were no longer considered the victim because we had been made whole by the bank, then they would just proceed and wait for Chase Bank to contact them as to whether or not they wanted to, open an investigation. He said that in his experience, the bank generally just kind of writes it off and they don't get notified. So I also spoke with our accounting firm that comes in and does our annual audit. She said that Ms. Sarah, that y'all has come at our meetings every year, she indicated that since it did not show a lack of internal controls on the behalf of our group of Springdale School District, she did not see that it would be included in our audit report as an audit finding, which is commonly what you see when legislative audit does the audit. They'll usually report it even though it's not at the fault of the district. However, I did notify legislative audit to let them know what had happened and sent them all the documentation. And he also agreed with our external auditors that since it did not show a lack of internal controls on our part and that we were actually the ones that caught the fraudulent activity, he kind of closed the matter with his division as well. So I feel I'm very pleased with how that worked out. We're working on the positive pay side of it. What I did find out is that with our banker, currently, I think Mr. Ramos had indicated that they would match, I think you said your bank matches the vendor as well as the check amount and the dollar amount. And right now, First Security Bank is not to that point where they're matching the vendor. So what they told me is that even if we had positive pay at that time, it would not have caught because the check number would have matched our check file as well as the dollar amount. The only thing that changed was the vendor. And so they said that they felt like they're working to get that product rolled out, should be available hopefully first quarter of next year, so first quarter of 2025. So we've worked on the paperwork, we've submitted that to First Security Bank for the positive pay. So we're still in the process of getting that set up, but we should have that set up by the next board meeting.
I'm
Yes.
just curious, I was looking at the check register.
Yes.
What the heck is Amazon Capital Services? There's like 500 entries.
So we have an Amazon Business Prime account, and we purchase a lot of our supplies and stuff through Amazon. And so that's why that's so high, is that's the culmination of all the transactions that were purchased. It is. It takes quite a bit of time for our ladies downstairs to reconcile that account. But, it is, we would probably still be making those purchases, but instead of having one vendor where they're trying to reconcile one report, we would probably have 200 different vendors. So in that, Amazon has a very good program where we can download all of those transactions into an Excel spreadsheet, and then we can cross-reference those. Makes it a lot simpler than pulling individual invoices and matching them up.
I knew there was a logical explanation.
It is a little mind-boggling. All right. Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the August financial as presented.
So sorry.
Before she runs away.
So a motion by Mrs. Creek and a second by Mr. Owenby to approve the August 2024 financial statements. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Hello, Board, Dr. Cleveland. Hey, so Springdale High, I mean, we're about a week away from being totally complete on that job. So there's an overview of the field with parking lot, bleachers, everything's completed. There's a few punch items. We're adding a couple circuits in the concession stand to add some more equipment in there. We added some Tectum up in the hospitality room. Got that completed. Yeah. The tennis courts, they've got those completed. They're working to enclose a pavilion there on site and have that done. And then we've just got to do a little bit of landscaping and dirt work around that, and that'll be complete. Yeah, they turned out really good. You guys have any questions on the high school? Okay. So at Central, they're doing really good on schedule. So this is the exterior of the kitchen and the cafeteria, and they've actually got more exterior panels on today, so they'll have it closed in really pretty quick. This is on the other side looking at the cafeteria, so they've got all the windows in. This is the interior of the cafeteria, and they're getting ready to start putting sheetrock in probably later this week. So they're getting all the utilities put in the walls. They have went ahead and block filled a lot of the CMU walls, getting ready to be able to start painting here pretty soon. This is in the locker room. You can tell they've block filled it, so they'll be ready to finish out the above ceiling and get that started. That's really all I have. At Southwest, they are doing a little bit of work on the parking lot. They're on the west side of the property. It's going good. They've got the undercut pretty much complete and getting ready to start curbs there. And we should have everything done at Southwest in the end of November and be able to take possession of that in December. And that job will be done. So
We kind of need to start thinking about how you want to open the buildings, grand open wise, Southwest and Central. We did that with the Springdale High football field,
yeah.
arena, which was really good.
Yeah. And George Elementary, it was just a few punch list items. They're working on those, but it looks very good. I was over there earlier in the week, and I mean, it looks like they've been in it for a year. I mean, they're using it like it's always been there. So. Okay.
Running out of stuff to do.
We've got a lot of other stuff we're catching up on. So if we've got other projects, we can get caught up on.
Thanks, Chairman.
All right, thank you.
Hopefully this one will be.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Cleveland. My name is Valerie Hanna. I am the Springdale Education Association president and a teacher here in Springdale. So the last time we met was on day 2 of school, and we had only reported good things from the teachers, and now it is day 21, and those positive reviews have continued from our members. We have especially a lot of them that have said that the new cell phone policies are just awesome. So really great reviews on that. Ms. Callie Day and I went down this last weekend to Little Rock and represented Springdale in our executive committees, and completed the work that we were supposed to do, and then discussed that we will be heading to the Representative Assembly in November in Hot Springs this year. So they changed the location, which is, a lot of times here in Arkansas, we like to have our certain things in certain places. So that might be fun. I'm trying to convince them that we need to go over to Murfreesboro and go, diamond digging and whatnot, but I haven't gotten a lot of yeses on that one yet. I'm also very proud to announce that Adele Zidkaya, who is one of our K-8 Connect instructional aides, was chosen as our Springdale Educational Support Professional of the year. And with that award, because she becomes our nominee to Arkansas, and we will know at the RA whether or not she is chosen to represent the state for that. Very proud of her for the work that she does, especially working at K-8. It's a hard job, and she does it amazingly with a great attitude and just a love for what she does. I thought the portrait of a graduate was interesting because the last thing that I wanted to bring forth was a highlight on, and I feel like I talk about Callie all the time, but it's because she is amazing as a human being and as a teacher. But she, here a couple months back, realizing how daunting that voting can be for many people, and this kind of goes back to that portrait of a graduate, that voting and getting kids to register, they don't always know to do it or where to do it or how to do it, and it's easy to just let it slide. And she has been working on researching, streamlining and simplifying the process of registering to vote. She has developed a unbiased informational kind of list of links and things so that on what voters need to know, where they can find their polls on election days, and she has made it so that it would be easy for something that we could actually push out through the schools or through social media so that we could get a lot of our kiddos that are going to be eligible to vote here in November. As long as they are 18 before November 5th, then they can actually get registered and be able to vote in this next election. So we would love any opportunity to share that information with the Springdale juniors and seniors, their families, the faculty, or any community members that would like just something to make your life a little bit easier and be an amazing citizen, because voting is important. So, thank you for your time.
Patron comments? Nope. Right, we already checked that, right? Okay. Of our miscellaneous items, unfinished transfers. Anything else? Okay. Meeting is adjourned. Thanks for being here.